you down. Yeah, well, here we go. Inheritance is when classes are when classes are related in a hierarchy. So, I'll give you an example. We could have what we call a parent class called book. All right. Can anyone think of different kinds of books that there are?
Fiction, non-fiction.
We could do that. I was thinking more books that have different attributes. Because, see, science fiction and fiction, they have an author, a publisher, a title.
Picture books.
We could have underneath that comic book. And we could have graphic novel, which is a little different. This is enough for now. So book in this world that we just created is the parent class or the super class. And the others are child classes or subclasses. Not sub as in any less than, but they're below in a hierarchy. So you write that down, and I'll write some things down. So the idea is to put shared info into the parent class, things that all of the objects in the hierarchy will have. In this case, title and author. You know, I know we could have other things, but let's just keep it simple like that. And then you would only create subclasses when you had sort of specialized information, like comic book would have an illustrator. And it could be that graphic novel and comic book could be in one thing. You could have it because maybe they just have an illustrator. I don't know. But comic book sounded different than the graphic novel to me, so I was willing to go with that that look. So we add specialized info into the subclasses. I could verbally do another one. We could have a class called person, and under that could be a subclass called student. And you know, the student has a first name and a last name, just like say person has first name and last name. Great. Student has first name and last name. Also, you could have grade level. You know, if you're a student at a school. A different subclass could be teacher. I don't have a grade level because I'm not in school. But I might have subjects that I teach. You know, a list of subjects, or when my free period is, or yeah, all kinds of things. So, in Java, we use the keyword extends to create a parent-child relationship. And I want you to go onto my website and download the Day 63 book class. And we're going to take a look at it together, rather than have you type it all up and us spend 20 minutes trying to transcribe something. We're going to just go up there and take a look. So, Day 63 books. Should have been book singular, but we'll take it. So open that up. I want to walk you through an example. Yeah, we're going to extend. So this is to help you with your notes. You don't have to do any, this isn't part of your assignment for today. Just follow along. So we have this class called Day 63 Books, which is just like a runner. It's for testing. But let's look at the class book. So everybody, I hope you have this up on your screen. The class book, see, we've got title, we've got author, we've got a constructor. It says public book, string T, string A, and it sets the values. And it has a toString. We're good so far? We scroll down. I made another class, graphic novel. And notice it says extends book. Now, what's different about a graphic novel? It has an illustrator. In my universe, that's what I said. And so its constructor has title, author, and illustrator. And here's a new line. This thing says super T, comma A. That's calling the book constructor to create that part of it. That's how we get the data into the parent part of our. It just has to. We'll talk about this more next time. But this the parent constructor gets called one way or another. So we're calling it using this call super, and then we're setting illustrator to I. And then down here in the toString, we're calling the parent toString, again using this super call, which we'll talk about more next time, and then adding the word illustrator. So right now I'd like everyone to go up and make 2 books. Its title and author. Do a regular book and a graphic novel, and then run your code. Let's make sure it works.
2 books and 1 graphic novel.
No, 1 book, 1 graphic novel. Just fill out the information that's in here. Instead of the X, X, and the Y, Y, put I'm doing a real book. I don't know any graphic novels. Coraline. That's true. That would I just made up a book that I pretended I wrote. So we can see this works. The book prints out the title of the book and the author, and for the graphic novel it prints out the title, the author, and the illustrator. The main thing is I wanted you to see how this looks. So the book class doesn't even really have to know that it's going to have a child. And then this graphic novel extends book creates this parent-child or superclass, subclass relationship and sets things in motion. As I said, the super call, this line right here, you might even add this into your file. It calls the parent constructor. Because you notice we don't have the variables title and author here in graphic novels. So you couldn't just say title equals T and author equals A. You have to call the parent constructor one way or another. And again, we'll talk about this in more detail next time. For today, I'm just hand waving. You say super and you call the parent constructor. And then down here, because I wanted the title and the author to display here as well as the illustrator, I'm calling super.toString and then just saying plus, and then I'm adding a new line and the illustrator. You're going to have to do something like this, but we're doing a shape with rectangle and circle underneath it as objects. So a couple more things. Notice book has a toString, and so does graphic novel. This is called method overriding. It's not overloading, it's overriding. So we'll go back to our notes. When a child class has a method with the same name, it is called overriding. But it works just like overloading. Java will call the one in the child class only. And that's why, because I wanted the information from the parent class, I did super.toString, that called the parent one, and then I just added the child stuff. You don't have to do it that way. You can do all kinds of things. But, so overwriting is different from overloading. Remember, overloading is when you have the same method in a class, but they have different parameters. So then Java figures out which one to execute based on the parameters that you call, whether it's like an int and a string, or just an int, or a double. It'll figure out the right one to call. Whereas overwriting is between a parent and a child. It'll look in the child first. If it's not there, it goes to the parent. Like if we didn't have the toString in the graphic novel and we printed a graphic novel, it would just print the title and the author, just without the illustrator note. You know, it's not a bad thing. A couple more things. A class can only extend one class. You can't say graphic novel extends book and then some other thing at the same time. You can't say extend something, like any particular class can only extend one parent. But don't be mistaken. You can have a parent. It could have as many children as you need. You know, you can make different classes that extend it in different ways. I mean, here's one. You could have card game, and then 5-card poker, blackjack, Texas Hold'em could all be subclasses of the generic card game thing. And then each one has different rules and different procedures. So for practice, let's organize the following into a hierarchy. So we've got okay, so quietly to yourself, try to organize these 5 things into a hierarchy. So, anyone want to say what they think the top of the hierarchy ought to be?
Toy box.
I've heard toy. I've heard toy box.
Well, I think if you go like a category of toys, toy box could be considered a toy.
Toy box is not a toy. If you're going to play with the toy box, then you should leave the room right now. I'm sorry. No, I get it. I get it. I set up a intentionally trick. I'm trying to trick you. So, because it is tricky, toy should be at the top. That's the parent.
Waldorf kids.
And underneath toy, we'd have Legos, doll, Hot Wheels. These are not in order. They're all just underneath. And then over on the side, we could have toy box. It's totally separate. I think I can type. Separate. It's separate. You can have classes. They don't all have to exist in the toy world. A parent, you could, you can have a chain of things, but toy box isn't something you play with. Please don't play with the toy box. Just put the toys away when you're done playing.
Waldorf kids. Waldorf kids don't play with anything.
So listen, what we're talking about is toy, Legos, doll, Hot Wheels. These are all toys. And then toy box just is a separate thing. And it was on there just to kind of make you think about it. I didn't try to trick you in a bad way. You could have a class called toy box, and it could have an array list, full of toys, right? I mean, that's why I put it on there. You could have that. That could be the thing that keeps track of all the toys that are in the inventory. Alicia.
Can a subclass have other subclasses?
Yeah. You can chain these things in ways that would be annoying, but yeah, it's powerful. This is actually object-oriented programming. I mean, we've been doing that already, but this is a big part of what makes Java do that. Funny that we wait till Unit 9 to do it, but we've been making classes before, you know. You're not just learning about that. All right, let's practice. I'm going to post day